folks, that guy Flies RC. How y'all doing? Coming to you from the man cave. If you first time joining my channel, welcome. Glad you're here. We're going to be doing an unboxing and build of the Servos RC 50mm VIPER. All right. Big shout out to Hobby Zone for sending this out to me and for review. And I got to tell you, I've got all the little 50mm toss and boss planes, and they're just an absolute blast to fly. They're easy. They all recommend you run them on a 1300 3S, but I'm telling you, I run a 1400 4S in them, and it just they run great. They just absolutely fly wonderfully. Now this one is the VIPER design. Has a 30.5 inch wingspan. It's 27.4 inches long. The motor is a 2627 with a KV 4500, a 30 amp ESC, 3 9-gram servo. Now there's no rudders, it's just simply elevator and both ailerons, so bank and yank. 4-channel receiver is going to be needed. The center of gravity is, it says it's 67 millimeters from the leading edge, but that's actually from the, not the leading edge of the wing, but actually the leading root, which was the angled part of the wing that joins the fuselage. That's actually the wing root, and that's where you measure from. 50mm 11 bladed EDF, and the recommended battery is a 1300 3S. But like I said, I run 4S in them, and they do just fine. And it's a good looking little plane. Now there are some glue that you'll have to use, and looky there, the manual's nice on top and not folded. Come on, FMS and E-Flight. A lot of your kits come that way. It's all folded up. Why? There's absolutely no reason for it. Makes it hard to read a manual. It's folded up like that. And I'm going to get off of that because I know it's kind of getting old. I know. These Servos products, I'm absolutely the quality. You can see the individual nacelles, but you cannot feel them. Your ailerons are already hooked up for you. And all you have to do is fish your connectors out of your wing. Decals are already applied. Everything's already hooked up in the wing. And like I say, it's very, very, going to be a very simple build. Now don't forget, you guys, little pockets here, little things. There's 4 screws, going to be a Phillips head screw. Make sure there's nothing. You do have to glue on the little winglets. And that's actually fairly thick foam. This is the horizontal stabilizer. Has a pinch hinge, but it has to have laminate reinforcement, and it looks very healthy. It's not dried out, so I'm not going to worry about hold the foam treatment right now, but I probably will later on in the jet's life. Fuselage. One thing I like about the VIPER is that this hole is a hard plastic. This has the Vestor stabilization system. It's already installed and everything is labeled for your convenience. And you only have to plug in just your ailerons to the little plug tails, the little pigtails there. XTC connector. Velcro already on the battery tray. So very simple build. I like, and these fins back here are hard plastic. That way when you skid, and another thing I want to show you on these little planes, a hard plastic covering your ailerons, and your air inlet right here is hard plastic. Nose is hard plastic. Parts that way, if it's actually sitting on a runway or the pavement, you're only going to scratch the plastic. You're not going to damage the foam ring. So there's nothing to the part count here. I mean, all you've got is the fuselage, the wing, and the winglets, and that's pretty much it. There's nothing underneath, but there should be nothing left. Okay. And it's a good looking little plane too. Now I purchased the VIPER when it first came out. It's actually over there, you can see its nose sticking out. But they didn't have the gyro system at the time. They didn't have the Vector. They hadn't even come out with it yet. And So I appealed to Hobby Zone and I said I would very much like to have a new one. Mine's been awfully beat up. I've been flying the dog mess out of it. But I'd like to have a new one so I can show folks how you hook up the Vector system. Because mine didn't have it. The Vector system, for these little EDFs, it is pretty darn good. Pretty darn good. The throttle's already, okay, everything's hooked up to the Vector system, which is this little circuit board right there. And then all you're going to be dealing with are these 4 servo leads. And you've got throttle, aileron, elevator, and S-bus. And S-bus is what you're going to plug into an open port on your receiver. Now, I'm all out of my AR410s, so I'm going to have to use actually a 7-channel Limit RX Gen 2, because I have several of those in boxes. So I'm going to use one of those. So it's a little overkill, but that's okay. I mean, you go with what you've got. Let's go ahead and hook up the wing. I'll be using the Chinese rubber cement that you get with a lot of these kits. It's pretty much the same thing as foam tack for the glue-in parts. Okay. Now, anytime you're going to be, and I'm going to be gluing the elevator in first, it just keys in right there, just like it actually is in there tight enough almost to be a friction fit. You could almost leave it in there, but it's very, very tight. However, I want a good, strong contact. So anytime you're going to be gluing foam to foam, score up the surface that's going to be touching. Okay, just score that up. It gives a little more surface area for the glue to adhere to, and makes more of a locked-in, it's just more secure. All right, let's go ahead. This only goes one way. The connectors, for your control surface arms, are going to go down. Okay? So this holds all of your elevator in. So don't go crazy with the glue, but don't go chinchy either. Okay. Put this to touch. So this glue sticks about out. Okay. Slide that in there. See, it's only going to fit one way. Got it in there, then I'm going to push it back out for just a second or so. Let that glue kind of get stringy. But this particular type of rubber cement, you don't have to get the full minute. Just kind of move it around on there, and then slide it back in there, and make sure it's all centered right. That's all in there nice and pretty, happy, and there we go. Now, put that off to the side. Let's grab our wing. Okay, now that my finger is all nice and gooey, score the little wing tips up to where I'm going to add those winglets. Probably don't need, this is probably an unnecessary step, but it's just something I do. So I've always had good luck with it. I've always been taught you glue, when you do foam to foam, you score up the surface. Put a little bit of glue. Don't go crazy with it, but don't be chinchy either. Let that just kind of lock in there. Smooth it all nice and down. Pull it off. I don't know if you can see them strings or not. And anchor that back down. Now I found that if you use too much of the rubber cement, then it will actually start cooking the foam. It actually gets a little heat to it. So I found that foam tack will do that. You give too much glue, it actually will eat the foam a little bit. What it does is just makes it soft. It doesn't really necessarily eat it, it just makes it sort of soft. Put that in there. Pull apart, get it stringy, and put that back down there again. I just smear that glue right on over the surface there. Wipe off the excess. Put that off the side and let it dry. And that glue, you just kind of rub your fingers together, and it'll just ball up and eventually just fall right off your fingers. It just acts like it just starts getting sticky. Run your fingers together a little bit, then it'll come off. But it's I wish I could know what brand and everything. It's just it's the cheap glue that come in almost a lot of these kits, and it's just, there's nothing to it. All right, now we can return our attention to the wing. I just gotta be careful not to hit those wing tips. Okay. There's you're gonna feed your wing through. You see this big opening here. This is where you're going to feed your two servo connections. Make sure they're lined up in there. Come on. Go ahead, reach in there, grab them, that way they're not pinched. Okay. And that wing will set down in that saddle. The glue's right on. Oh, I didn't open up my baggie. Oh. Now you don't get any, you do get one extra little bitty Phillips head screwdrivers. You get one extra, so don't lose it. That one went right in, and I'm keeping my finger over here on that seam. That way I can feel that seam. Okay, that has a very obvious stopping point. Yes, it's metal screw going into plastic housing, but it's a very, very hard plastic. My finger on the seam there so I can feel it join. Another advantage of crisscrossing this, if I do one here and one here, one, is it lines up the whole wing, so each screw will get easier, better chance of it lining up correctly. Okay. Keep my finger on the seam. I know it lines up. I remember my first Viper like this, I had to back these screws out a couple of times to get them to line up right. The T33 was like that too. But going this crisscross pattern, I'm making myself a believer in it. Got my finger on got my thumb on the seam there. That way I can feel the two parts join. You know, They just get down to a certain point and they just stop. You can't go any further. All right. And now that is the basic build of the Arrows VIPER 50 millimeter. Okay, next up, the next video will be, we'll actually put a radio in there. I will show you how to set up a profile on your radio. I'll be using an NX10, and I'll show you how to hook up the vector system, and how that works, and how to assign it to a switch, and how to enable it. So there you go. All right, we'll just stick around. We'll get this next video knocked out. All right, thank you for watching. Big shout out to Hobby Zone for this. And yes, I did not hook up my elevator yet, because I don't hook up any control surfaces until I got a receiver installed and got her bound. That way that servo will be centered for me from the get-go. All right, thank you for watching. Stick around and we'll do the radio setup and the vector system, the gyro, and then we'll go over CG. Be right back. Ooh, I can't talk today. Y'all have a good one. Don't forget to like and subscribe. God bless y'all. And don't forget, faith, family, and friends, and the Jets. Bye-bye.